Toyota knows the future is electric, but getting there is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It will take a variety of powertrains and technological advances to reach carbon neutrality, or where carbon is no longer emitted from the tailpipe of your car. Just think about it. Mobility looks different for all of us. Do you live in the city or drive country roads? Are you after a performance vehicle or a more practical one? Are you carting around a team of kids or are you riding solo? Are staycations your tempo or maybe the long road trip? Do you have a garage and do you have access to reliable electricity? Vehicle life needs to match your real life, and that's unique from person to person. That's why Toyota's Beyond Zero vision aims to offer the widest selection of low and zero emissions vehicles in the market to give you more choices to reduce your carbon footprint. Toyota believes in electrified vehicles for all. So, what will work best for you? Let's check it out. The hybrid electric vehicle has been called by some as the gateway into electrified vehicles. Why? The way you fuel your car doesn't change from years past. It still runs on gasoline, just more efficiently. Here's the difference. An additional battery supplements the engine. So the two, both the battery and the engine, switch back and forth to make the hybrid move. The switch is automatic. You do nothing new. Engines in hybrid vehicles tend to be smaller and yet more efficient because they're paired with an electric motor. And you know what that does? It lowers emissions, increases mileage, and makes the starting price point for electrified vehicles more affordable. So if you want your travel around town or maybe on the open road for a trip to cost less at the pump, this is a great option. Plus, all the core components here, from the battery to the electric motor and the power control unit, it lays the foundation for all electric vehicles. That's why we call this the building block for electrification. The plug-in hybrid electric vehicle is actually just like the hybrid vehicle. It uses both gasoline and electricity. The main difference, you can plug it into an electrical outlet and drive quite a few miles on electric only. Need to run errands on electricity only? You got it. Want to travel to see family on a road trip? No problem. Here, you have options. Go all electric for many of your daily needs, like a work commute of 25 to 40 miles, depending on the electric range of the plug-in vehicle and how and where you drive. Or rely on the hybrid powertrain for longer drives or road trips. So what do you have to do? At night, plug in your vehicle to the regular 120-volt wall outlet in your garage. That takes around 8 hours to get a full charge on its separate, dedicated battery using a standard plug. Or you can charge even faster with a level 2 charger that a licensed electrician can install. Because the plug-in isn't purely electric, you don't have to worry about running out of charge. This vehicle will automatically switch over to gasoline when needed. And guess what? The Toyota team is working to add larger batteries and is exploring solid-state batteries that could extend the all-electric range of your vehicle. Welcome to the fuel cell electric vehicle. Think about refueling your vehicle in about 5 minutes in order to go on a long road trip, or better yet, how about driving around town for the better part of a week and not having to refuel at all? Now, to do that, this powertrain needs two very specific things: hydrogen instead of gasoline and a fuel cell stack instead of an engine. You see, the hydrogen fuel cell is its own power source. It takes oxygen from the air and hydrogen in the fuel tanks to form water and generate electricity. Like a battery EV, it also uses a battery, but it's the electricity generated from the fuel cell that generates the power to move the vehicle down the road. Its only byproduct, water that exits the tailpipe. That's what you call zero emissions. And while the fuel cell electric vehicle is currently in limited markets, the Toyota team has been testing hydrogen for over 25 years and selling fuel cell electric vehicles since 2015, like the Toyota Mirai. Toyota has proven that it works. So what would it take for this to go nationwide? The answer? Infrastructure. For example, right now, the majority of the hydrogen refueling stations are in California, but more are on the way. It's also a great option for those of you who may not be able to charge a battery electric vehicle at home, like if you live in an apartment, a high-rise, or a condo. Hydrogen has promising applications beyond the traditional passenger vehicle. There's also demand in areas like heavy-duty transport and stationary power generators. The electric vehicle, or better yet, the battery electric vehicle, runs 100% on electricity. Now you might be wondering, is this powertrain similar to a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, or a fuel cell electric vehicle? Absolutely. They all have power control units, a battery, and electric motors. But the main source of power for electric vehicles is a second, larger battery. The range for an electric vehicle varies widely. How big is the battery? Are you towing something in the back? What's the temperature outside? Do you have the AC or heater on? How fast are you going? All of these elements do affect the range. So a good first question to ask yourself is, what kind of range do you need for your typical driving habits? In turn, that will affect how big the battery is. Battery size here, it's measured in kilowatt hours. And in general, the bigger the battery, typically the longer the range. Let me show you what I mean. A 40 kilowatt battery might get you close to 150 miles on a full charge. A 60 kilowatt battery can provide a little over 200 miles. This Toyota, the BZ4X, with a 70 kilowatt battery, has an EPA estimated driving range of up to 252 miles. So the size of the battery is directly related to the distance you can travel. But keep in mind, the bigger the battery, the higher the price. But hey, let's say you're all in, ready to buy a battery electric vehicle. Now what? You can charge the battery at home, in your garage, or in public. Charging sites are steadily being built out nationwide. Recharging looks a lot like refueling your vehicle. It's the same idea, but you're getting electricity instead of gasoline. But there's one big change when it comes to powering up. If you live in a single-family home, most of your charging will probably be done at home. The vehicle comes with a standard power cord to plug into a standard 120-volt wall outlet. Want to charge faster though? There are upgrades to different levels of charging speeds. Battery electric vehicles and fuel cell electrics are really some of the most promising technologies out there when it comes to eliminating carbon emissions from passenger vehicles. Sometimes you'll hear other acronyms around these vehicles, like ZEV, or zero emission vehicle, means that there's zero carbon emitted from the tailpipe. Battery electric vehicles have 3 levels of charging. The higher the level, the faster the charging time. With level 1, you can plug the vehicle into a standard 120-volt outlet with the cable that usually comes with your vehicle. You can usually plug this in almost anywhere with no upgrades to your home. This method takes the longest time to charge. For small batteries, less than 20 kilowatts, it might take up to 12 hours, or longer for larger batteries. So most people with an electric vehicle opt for a level 2. This operates off of a 240-volt outlet to charge even faster. You can get a licensed electrician to come in your house and install that. It's actually pretty similar to the same socket that your dryer runs on. With a level 2 charger, you can recharge a 40 to 70 kilowatt battery in 8 to 12 hours. That's overnight in your garage. Level 3 is usually reserved for industrial or public use for faster charging. These chargers can recharge an electric vehicle in less than a few hours under ideal conditions. They can provide up to 80% of a full charge in around 30 minutes. But it requires something called direct current, or DC fast charging. DC fast charging is both expensive and power intensive. That is why it's only used for industrial or commercial purposes, not for homes. If you are running errands in a 10-mile radius, a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with a smaller battery may fit the bill. They're effective for short ranges, affordable, and can be charged with a level 1 charger, a standard household plug. Are you looking for just a little more range? Maybe you want to drive more than 4 hours at a time? That's where a battery electric vehicle comes into play. In this case, a level 2 charger is ideal for properly charging the bigger battery. Or are you constantly on the road and you need a faster charge time? That's when you look for the level 3, the DC fast charger. But here's a tip for fast charging with level 3. Limit yourself to once or twice a day, because it can impact the overall battery life. Oh, and do make sure you map out the route to plan exactly where you're going to stop. Although infrastructure is steadily being built out, planning ahead is key. There you have it, a portfolio of powertrains. Which one will you choose?